Hello hooligans, today we are talking about the best movies of 2023, in my opinion. Gotta say that these days because people be getting real butthurt over opinions. So obviously I did not watch every single movie that came out this year. I don't got the time, and more importantly, I don't got the money. So I might not have some of your favorite films on this list. In that case, then make sure you leave a comment and let me know what your favorite movies are. And maybe that'll convince me to go check them out.
Number 10
is Wonka. This kind of shocked me too because I feel like no one was going to go see Wonka, and then I took a chance on it. And then it turned out to be really fun. There were very few movies this year that just made me feel really good watching a movie. It's objectively not one of the better movies, especially on my list, but I had to put it on here because it had really good lasting impressions on me. And I do have full-length reviews for some of these movies, so check the cards linked up there in case you're interested.
Number 9
Okay, I'm gonna kind of cheat here because I'm gonna put two movies, but I feel like my reasoning for these two movies are so similar that they might as well just be tied. So these movies are Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Nimona. So both of these movies had pretty unique animation styles. They were also very family friendly and very fun to watch. They also had very likable characters and very good voice acting. And they both involved giant monsters at one point or the other. I think these two movies are objectively one of the better animated movies out there this year.
Number 8
Bottoms. This movie kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't really see any kind of marketing for it whatsoever, but it turned out to be a really funny movie. I think the humor in this movie is quite current without it being super cringy and trying to stereotype Gen Z. And like the concept of high schoolers coming of age is obviously nothing new, but I think the cast and the script serves this movie really well and makes it stand out from other teenage comedy movies.
Number 7
is Barbie. It is so refreshing to see such a successful movie that is not a sequel, not a prequel, not a spin-off, not a remake. It is a totally original story. And obviously I know it comes from Barbies, but I'm saying that the story itself was pretty original. The movie was certainly controversial when it came out, but you can't deny its influence over pop culture, especially in 2023. And I anticipate a lot of studios moving forward are going to try to replicate the success of Barbie, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Although they are making a Mattel cinematic universe, and I really hope that they don't ruin the reputation of Barbie that way. But if they do make a Ken spinoff, I'll be sad. Also, Barbie had one of the best soundtracks the entire year. I mean, it was banger after banger after banger. They probably have really good chances of winning Oscar Best Songs.
Number 6
Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Listen, I'm kind of tired of Marvel. In fact, I would even say that I'm no longer a Marvel fan at all. However, I've kind of always liked the Guardians movies, so I decided to check this out. And I'm happy to report that Guardians 3 is probably the best one out of the trilogy. It was really funny, it was really heartfelt, it had good action, it had good visuals, it had good soundtrack. It reminded me of the good days of the MCU. And you know what? This MCU movie doesn't rely so heavily on connecting all the other MCU movies and making you watch a bunch of different Disney Plus shows. You could just go in and watch this movie and walk out and be completely fine. And I miss Marvel movies like that.
Number 5
The Boy and the Heron, allegedly Miyazaki's last film, but he's been saying that for years. Now, I definitely had some criticisms of this movie, check out my review for that, but is undeniably one of the most beautifully animated movies of the year. It has a lot to say, very existential, and is definitely a good movie to talk about for years to come. Even though this is not one of my favorite Studio Ghibli movies, it is still definitely one of the best movies of the year.
Number 4
Saltburn. This is another one of those movies that kind of came out of nowhere. Now, the ending of this movie is a little questionable, but everything about the movie is so intentional, so artistically done. The acting is 10 out of 10. And of course, it doesn't hurt that some of the shocking moments of the movie had a huge impact on social media. Also, the movie was able to be very artsy without being over the top pretentious. Saltburn is definitely a movie you guys should check out if you have not already.
Number 3
Past Lives. This is one of the first movies I actually did a review on. This movie came out in the middle of the year, but still has a lasting impact on me. It was heavily character driven. Just the way they are able to depict the relationship between two people and how it changes over time as they grow into different people is just so beautiful and so heartbreaking at the same time. I remember I definitely cried at the ending of this movie. It wasn't as devastating and in your face as, let's say, La La Land, but because of the subtlety of how it ended, it actually made it a little more heartbreaking to me because it allows the viewers to think more on how it relates to real life. It's also an amazing movie depicting what it means to be Asian American. Anyway, please check this movie out. Definitely can't recommend it enough.
Number 2.
Poor Things by Yorgos Lanthimos, which by the way is one of the coolest names ever. It literally sounds like a comic book villain, but I actually just watched Poor Things like a couple of days ago, and it absolutely blew me away. This was probably the best performance ever from Emma Stone. The visuals were incredible, the way it was able to make surrealism come to life. Also, it was very funny. I think a lot of artsy movies miss out on the humor aspect of things, but this movie definitely makes you laugh the whole time. Also, Poor Things is basically a darker version of Barbie because it has very similar themes about what it means to be a woman, what it means to be a real human being with feelings and emotions and experiencing the highs and lows of life, albeit just done way more explicitly than Barbie. Let me know if you guys actually want me to make a full review on Poor Things because I love the movie so much. Now, before we get into number 1, let's have a few honorable mentions. Dream Scenario is a very underrated movie. I think this was one of Nick Cage's best performances to date. Thanksgiving, such a campy slasher movie. It's definitely able to stand out as a slasher film in such an oversaturated genre. Talk to Me. While I do think this movie is a little overhyped, I think it remains a very unique horror movie, and I do look forward to how they change things up in Talk to Me too. Joyride is another all Asian cast, and it's super funny, super raunchy. Don't watch it with your parents, but watch it with your friends and you'll thank me. Shortcomings. It's like a humorous version of Past Lives, but not as deep, but definitely a fun watch regardless. It's also directed by Randall Park, so that's always a good sign. And now let's talk about
Number 1.
Across the Spider-Verse. I mean, what is there not to say about this movie? As an animation fan, I am confident in saying this is one of the best animated movies of all time. I absolutely think this, and along with the first one, is a masterpiece. And I never throw around the words masterpiece, but I really do think this is a masterpiece. And I think a lot of people are mad about the cliffhanger ending, but I really didn't mind. It just makes me more excited for the third film. I can watch Spider-Verse over and over again and I will not be sick of it. While I am kind of sick of the whole multiverse thing, I think the Spider-Verse remains still very unique. And of course, it's had a very huge impact on pop culture as well. But what did you guys think? Make sure you give me your own top 10 list in the comments below. Also, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already because I will be making the top 10 worst movies of the year. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out, everyone.